everybody. Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of our AI in EDU series. Today, we are talking all about streamlining instruction with Microsoft Copilot and Flip. My name is Ann Cosma, and I'm an educator innovation lead at Microsoft on the learning team, and I am thrilled to have you join us today. And before we begin, I just want to say happy Teacher Appreciation Week. Today and every day, our team at Microsoft is honored to be part of your classrooms. Thank you for the incredible work you do to bring learning to life for your students and your community. And we love learning with you. So be sure, say hello in the comments. We would love to know where you are tuning in from. Share a shout out to your school or district. And be sure to connect with us on social using @Microsoft Flip. And friends, I am so excited to welcome today's guest. Jorge Valenzuela is a highly sought after and well-recognized performance and education coach. He is an author, I've got his book right here, and a speaker at Lifelong Learning Defined. He specializes in emphasizing instructional innovation through action research, and he is a trusted deliverer of reputable professional training in collaborative team building. He is passionate about core instruction, project-based learning, STEM pathways, and life skills integration across the curriculum. He does incredible partnerships with corporate executives and superintendents and provides professional development on behalf of ASCD, Corwin, the Premier Speakers Bureau, and Solution Tree. Y'all, he's authored several books, and he's the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast host. Please help me give a warm welcome to our good friend, Jorge Valenzuela. Hey, George.
Ann, how are you? How you doing?
I'm doing well today, my friend. I'm so excited to have you joining us. How are you?
Well, ditto. I do want to say happy Teachers Appreciation Week to all the educators out there, everyone doing hard work for our children. Thank you so much. And thank you to the entire team. Jernay, I saw your comment. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and let's get into it.
George, I'm ready to jump right into this. I feel so
All right, let's
excited
do
for
it.
this conversation.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
friend,
Let's do it.
I have respected and admired your work for a long time, and you are a very well-known instructional coach. So I want to ask, how did you get into this role? And can you share more about your instructional leadership journey?
Yeah, and so I never meant to be an educator. In college, my major was computer science, not
Hmm.
education, and I had a minor in business. And I wanted to be a computer scientist, as I thought. I
Oh,
studied
yeah.
coding,
Wow.
artificial intelligence, and information technology. And when I graduated, right before graduation, I got a contract for $37,000 to work for an IT firm in New York City. And I thought I was going to be rich. I ran through the computer science department at SUNY Old Westbury in New York. Big shout out to them if anyone is listening. And I bragged to all my friends. Then I went home and did the same thing. And my dearest aunt, who was a teacher and
Mhm.
who passed away, heard me talking this way. And she pulled me aside and she said, "Listen, young man, you need to
Mhm.
be a teacher. You have a very unique way of explaining things. And we need that in education." And to be honest, Anne, I didn't see that for myself at the time because I didn't have the confidence that I do now. But I've learned this:
Mhm.
when people see potential in you that you don't see in yourself and they
Yeah.
like you, they will help you. And
Yeah.
sometimes they will even create opportunities for you. Her and the principal at her school, they created a summer school class for me to teach middle schoolers about technology and about computer science for about 5 weeks. And I thought I would do that job for the 5 weeks and then move on to all my other dreams. But
Huh.
that summer, I met 25 kids who, number one, changed my mind, but also changed the entire trajectory, not just of my career, but also my life. And I got into the classroom. I started out as a STEM and computer science teacher. I did that for about 7 years, I want to say. And then I got my administrative license, and I realized in the internship that I don't want to be a principal anytime soon. I don't want to be an AP. I don't want to do cafeteria duty, bus duty, or referrals. So I stayed
Yeah.
in the classroom. And then one day, someone from central office walked into my classroom, saw me teaching, And she was impressed and she encouraged me to apply for the instructional leadership position for my content area. Again, I didn't see that for
Yeah.
myself because I didn't
Mm,
have the confidence at the time. And but like I said before, when people like you, they will help you. And she encouraged me for, I want to say 6 months. I eventually applied, interviewed, and I got the job. And when I got into the job at central office, I had to coach adults. And I realized that from central office, many times, not all the times, but many times, we were asking teachers to do
mm,
things that we didn't know how to do ourselves. I had no interest in being a transactional leader, someone who
yeah.
says, okay, here's the curriculum and here's the resources. Now figure it out. I wanted to be a transformational leader, someone who has the knowledge and skills that can help all educators, whether administrators or whether teachers, improve in their craft. So, oh, and if there's something I don't know, then I also wanted to be the type of leader that would learn alongside their colleagues. And I eventually became a master teacher. I got into the PhD program and I learned the science behind all of the things that I do in my work. And now I work with others and we create systems for many topics pertaining
Yeah.
to instructional innovation, including lesson planning, which is why we're here today.
Yep.
So I'm
And
honored to
George,
be here.
I thank you. Thank you for sharing your journey. It's always I love hearing about people's stories, and you said so many things that resonated. And I was a teacher on special assignment, a coach, an innovation coach in my district for 4 years
Mhm.
before joining the team. And words like you just shared, relationships, community, opportunity, and the people who believed in you and helped you see new possibilities, the confidence and the potential. And that's something I respect so much about your work as a learning leader, that you help spark that in so many. And those transformative possibilities abound when community rallies together to learn and transform learning and look at learning in different ways. So thank you, George. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I mean, I have so many questions. Are you ready? Like I'm going to keep going. Are you ready for
Oh,
this?
yeah, let's
Okay.
hop in. Let's hop
So
in. Let's do it.
as we're thinking about streamlining instruction, let's start with lesson planning. And I know not
Okay.
all teachers use lesson plans. So I want you to talk about this and think about it, maybe frame the question, why is lesson planning important? And so ready to hear your take on this.
Well, first things first, let's read the room. It is May, lots of testing going on in schools. So, folks, are you personally feeling overwhelmed by having to lesson plan? And just drop it in the chat. I'm looking in the chat as we speak. I just want to read the room and see how people feel about this. Let's see what people are saying.
Yeah, we want friends. This is going to be an interactive conversation. So we definitely want you to drop your feelings into the chat. And if you're thinking about it, literally, this is the question. Does lesson planning make you feel overwhelmed? George, I know for me at seasons of my life in the classroom, it definitely has. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And we'll be popping into the chat throughout, folks. So let's keep going. And
Yeah.
let's hear your take on these challenges.
Yeah. So as a coach, I'm in schools every week and I'm either working with teachers or with administrators. And these are some of the reasons why lesson planning is a challenge. Educators don't have enough time. There's many learning needs in our classrooms. And frankly, not every teacher has been
Yeah,
taught how to lesson plan. So they don't even know how to plan a lesson, or if they have a canned curriculum, a lot of times they don't even know how to map a daily lesson. And then always adapting to new technology
yeah,
tools, especially AI. And the thing that I try to do is I don't lead with a tool. I
yeah,
always lead what is the problem that I'm trying to solve, and then I find the right tool. And so what I'll say is this: if you're not sold on lesson planning, let's say you're not sold on it because it's not mandatory in your space, then what I will say is this: think of a lesson plan as having a really good playbook. And
yeah,
let's take it to basketball. We are in the playoffs. Let's say that you're a really good player. You can run, you can throw, you can shoot, you have a lot of talent, but you don't have a playbook. You don't have a game plan. You might do well against other novices, but when you
Mm,
get in there and play with people that have a game plan or against folks that have a game plan, now you're not going to be very effective. And
yeah.
so my thing is this: don't wing it. If you have a great personality, I have found this. If you have a great personality and the kids like you can wing it. But we won't always give the kids what they need in terms of learning outcomes. And we're there for the kids. So that's an important thing. What I'll say is this: here are the benefits of lesson planning if you're not sold on it yet. Number one, it gives you instructional control. We all know things happen every day. Things
Yeah.
are not perfect. Teachers need to be able to, at times, pause their lesson, pivot, do what they have to do, and then come back to it. Number two, it creates instructional alignment. And what that means is this: that young people and the teacher see the outcome, right? And the beginning and the middle and the end. That's an important thing. Also, it allows assessment to drive instruction.
Yeah.
We all know that we can have a lesson plan that's already done, but we're going
Yeah.
to be assessing young people along the way. And so as we assess, sometimes we have to understand that what the original plan was now has to be altered. And four, it articulates clear learning goals. Young people need to every day see the end in mind for that learning block. So I highly recommend thinking about lesson planning.
Yeah. And this is such a significant thought too. It's like I mean, it's expectation setting and helping people be successful. So, I mean, I love the idea of that visual even on screen as a map, get
Mhm.
from point A to point B with intention, with purpose, with meaning. So that's why I'm so excited for this conversation with you today. And the comments, folks, keep adding those comments. We pop some on screen, but it's insightful to hear, but it's also reassuring. We're not alone as educators. A lot of us have the same thoughts and feelings regarding this. And George, I want to move into the idea of like AI, and we're talking
Mhm.
streamlining instruction and how tools like AI and Microsoft Copilot can support in this process. You know as well as anybody, AI is changing everything, and you're the learning leader having these conversations out and around. And I know you are exploring new possibilities, and Copilot has transformed your workflow. So I want to ask, how can Copilot help teachers plan their lessons?
Yeah. So for folks out there watching, if you're not familiar with Microsoft Copilot, you're in for a treat. And I want you to think of it as your everyday AI companion. And I didn't make that up, but it's true. There's a video that I want you to see. It's a brief video. It's about lesson planning. JB,
Let's
take.
roll the video.
Yeah. So
I love
first thing
that. I love
so I do want to point out that there's a subscription version to Microsoft Copilot. It's called Pro. And then there's a regular version that is free for everyone. You just have to have a Gmail, a Hotmail account, or a Microsoft account. And what I'll say is this: I want to show you the power of it in the paid subscription. It's only $20 a month, but it integrates with M365. As a teacher, as a coach, as a professor at a university, I have to use PowerPoint, Word, Excel, the whole suite. And so I want to show you the power of that, the integration. And just really quick, there is priority GPT-4 access, which is more advanced than GPT-3. It's easier to make images, which I'll model that in a moment. But also, like I said before, it integrates with the Office suite. And I think that's a powerful thing. So let's see what that looks like. I am going to go to some prompts that I've created, and these prompts are in the parking lot. And we did not give them the parking lot. If you don't mind, just someone on the team dropping the parking lot into the chat, and it's got the slides, everything that you're seeing here. And here are some prompts that I created. So I want to show you how it works in PowerPoint. So it actually creates a PowerPoint for you. Now, it's not a PowerPoint that I would use, but you can alter it, edit it, and make sure the information is accurate. So here's the prompt. Create a presentation on energy, forces, and motion for fifth graders. The slides should include multiple examples of the types of energy and student-friendly images. So I'm going to copy and paste it. Here we go in PowerPoint. There's a Copilot. It's an icon that is right here. When you have Pro, it integrates, and you can actually type it in right there. But look at the slides that it made for me. What
I
is
love this.
energy? I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing. What is force? Types of motion, examples of energy. And so it really sets you up to take the pieces that you want, edit them, revise them, and just have some speaking points. I think it's powerful.
Yeah.
It also
George, I have
works.
to jump in and say, showing that. So I love your brainstorming in this doc, right? And taking it into the tool. As a coach with the teachers I was working with, I always talked about working smarter, not harder. Every
Mhm.
click matters. And the way that AI is helping speed up workflows and productivity is one of the first things that captured my attention when working with Copilot. So I love that you literally just created the entire PowerPoint. Like, that's awesome.
Oh, wait. So I do want to tell the audience this. As I was rehearsing for this, I wanted to do it in real time, so you see the power of Copilot Pro. But the problem was that with the Wi-Fi and everything, like it would lag. So I just have it ready for you, but I wanted you to see what it can do. Also,
Smart.
with Microsoft Word, just right here. And here's my prompt. Please provide me with a complete, fun, 2-day STEM fifth grade 5E lesson plan on energy, forces, and motion, and provide an overview of the lesson and list the corresponding literacy and math Common Core state standards and NGSS, no more than 3 for each. And hold on, there's more in the prompt. Oh, and format each section into tables and outline steps I can take while teaching.
Yeah.
Also includes student, so you see, I put the whole thing, right? I don't leave anything to chance. And look what it created for me.
Oh,
There's an
wow.
overview. It's got all my activities for days 1 and 2. It's got my NGSS science standards. It's got my reading and math standards. And then it's got my learning objectives for my kids. It's got my activities, and they're written 5E: engage,
Yeah.
explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate, which you see. And so the thing that will say, and I want to go back into the PowerPoint. So I'm heading there now.
Okay.
Um, what I'll say is it's not going to be perfect, right? It's still artificial intelligence. There's still algorithms that humans made. So I want you to reflect on what you just saw. Yeah. So
And
all
I
right, go
need
ahead,
I
Amy.
need to say something to that, George, because as you and I have been talking in preparation for this, I know at
Mhm.
the end you're going to share some of the articles, but you've written brilliant blog posts on Edutopia, and one of them was the article using AI to help organize lesson plans. And you end the article with this statement: no matter how advanced an AI model becomes, they will never replace the human touch. Therefore, I
Mm,
embrace tech along with our human ingenuity. And I love that. And that approach to using AI, it is the thought partner. It is a thought partner,
yeah.
but human, as I would tell my first graders, your brain power means a lot. And the way that you can continue editing or transform the prompt or remix how you're prompting the AI. But folks, share your reflections in the chat. George, do you want to share with them? Like, we want to know your thoughts, right?
Yeah. So based on what you just saw, y'all, how can Microsoft Copilot enhance your lesson planning process? That's one reflection question. Answer it if you want. But then here's another one. How do you plan to verify the information provided by Copilot to safeguard against
Mm,
inaccurate information, but also automated biases before
yeah.
presenting it to students? So take a moment, y'all. We want to hear your reflections and see what y'all say. And Mr.
Yeah,
Coach
and we're probably
K15, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just going to say I'm popping them on the screen. So Andy here, like the way that the table was generated in that Word doc and breaking apart the standards, we're talking like you'll get into this some like backwards planning, but as like I was a first grade teacher and then I was a coach. And so getting to see your workflow here is so meaningful. And folks, if you're watching live or if you're catching this in the future on demand, the best thing is think through this, and George is going to model and demo many incredible things throughout this whole opportunity today. But I love these thoughts. The updates are great. Thank you. We love hearing that Copilot's features are helping you provide innovative opportunities. So George, why don't we keep going, and we're going to keep an eye on those
Let's go.
comments as they come in.
All right, fantastic. So I want to show you how I help educators map lessons. A
Yeah.
lot of
And
times
so
they,
this too,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
potentially, what if they don't have the pro version? If it's free, etc.,
Oh,
we're
gotcha.
gonna think about that too, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I do want to show you what it looks like without Pro. And just whether you have a scripted curriculum or not, or if you just have standards, how it can help you plan. So let me first ask folks in the comment, who here has been or is in a graduate program? I know Jernay is, right? I know Felly is. Anyone else out there? Are you in a graduate program? Let me hear what folks were saying. Okay, good. Yeah. So you know that before anything becomes a mindset, something that we naturally do, it first needs to be a framework.
Mhm.
Framework first, mindset second. It's a powerful principle that I lift up in my workshops and in my classrooms, ju- just to show people that when you're starting something new, having good general guidelines is a good way to go, and frameworks help. So the planning framework that I use for mapping lessons, mapping curriculum is backwards design methodology. It's by Jay McTighe and the late Dr. Grant Wiggins. I see my girl Janet Stevens in the chat. Janet, you know that we did this at Richmond City Public Schools a few years ago. We learned about UBD and we implemented this in our schools. That's my girl right there. And she texted me today. Big shout out. Well, anyway, looking at this research and this framework, it's got 3 steps. It's 3 things that you do. Number one, you identify your outcomes. What are the kids going to do, or what are they going to make? Number two
Yeah.
is assessments. You have to assess along the way. And 3, what are your lessons? So it's backwards, right? So these 3 steps, I took these steps and I used it in another framework. And this is the framework that we use in my workshops. And so it's 4 columns, and you'll see number one, the outcomes. It goes into column one, and it's the product or the task that students will make in your class. So I'm a computer science teacher, so my kids are working on a program for a Spiral Boat robot. And you'll see that. So that's the outcome. That's number one. I'll skip number 2. I will show that in a moment. But here, what is the evidence? If you go to column 3, these are your formative
Yeah.
assessments.
Yeah.
That's how you're checking for understanding. And then number 3, what are the lessons? What are the experiences that young people need in order for you to see if they're learning the information? Well, those are your lessons, your high yielding strategies, and your scaffolds. In other words, this is what educators need to reach for whenever they are teaching a particular lesson, or if young people are working on their own. And so the second column is just unpacking the standards. It's just taking the standards that you're working on this week and rewriting them into student-friendly learning targets. So as you
Yeah, and
see,
George, I'm going to jump in and just share a thought that's critical. We did this. I remember doing this as a teacher when we started with the student-friendly language. I can. This is something that helps learners of all ages. But to
mm,
deconstruct the standard and know and helping. It goes back to the purposeful intention, setting folks up for success. So I love that. Literally, friends, shout out to the I can statements, right, George? I just had to jump in because I'm like soaking this all up. I'm loving it. Keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. So on Monday and Tuesday, young people know the end in mind, my
Yeah.
outcome for that day, for those 2 days, is I can develop a flowchart using step-by-step algorithms of pseudocode for my Spiral Bolt program. And so what happens is this: if that's the learning target, then the assessments and the lessons and the strategies that we use have to align. And oftentimes, when I work in schools and I'm working with teachers, I'm walking into classrooms, I can tell if the alignment isn't there. So, the very first step is helping teachers align. And what's wonderful is that with AI tools, you actually do this a lot faster. It's not going
Yeah.
to be perfect. You still have to check for
Yep.
inaccurate information, also some biases in those algorithms. You can't just take everything verbatim, but it does save you time. So what I want you to do right now is don't write anything down. Just watch what I'm doing, and I'm going to show you how to use Copilot in order to fill this table out, map a daily lesson. But what I don't want you to do is try to do it in real time, right? Do that right after you get the recording. You can go back and you can watch the video, and then you can do it. So the first
And
step is
George,
this.
while you get that queued up, folks, we are dropping a link in the chat that will be a forced copy of this doc for you. Of course,
Mhm.
this is shared in the resources, and we'll let you know at the end where you can find all of these resources. But our teammates on the back end, if you want to go ahead and drop that link in the chat, this will give everybody the opportunity to get a copy of this doc, George. So take it away.
Okay, so let me find the doc myself and make sure I'm in the right place. Right. So here's the doc, and it's actually the template for my PBL Plus project and performance task template. Now, in turquoise, I highlighted number 8, which is the alignment table alignment, so whatever you want to call it. And for my modeling, I'm going to make a mural design. That's what my kids are going to be working on. So I'm going to go to the prompts that I've already engineered. And let's start with number 1. I am a 7th grade ELA teacher, and for 3 weeks, hold on, let me highlight this. And for 3 weeks, my kids and I will be designing and painting a mural to nurture an inclusive and empathetic class. Each of my students will have space on the mural to tell us something unique about themselves or one of their cultural assets. What are the ELA, math, Common Core, state standards, and national art standards that correlate to our project? Use only 2 standards per subject area. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go into Copilot, and I'm simply going to paste, hit submit. Whoops, those are my emails. Sorry, y'all. Hit submit and let Copilot cook and see
I
what it
love the
says.
intention as that's coming up, George, the intention of the way that you prompted it, the
Yeah.
specific bound 7th grade, right? The kids, the project, the outcome, tying it to Common Core state standards, national art standards, selecting 2. So it's brilliant. You see it starting to return. So let's watch and see, right? This is the magic of it all.
Yeah. Well, if you don't prompt it correctly,
Yeah.
it might burn you. It
Yeah.
might give you the
Yeah.
wrong information, and that's the way it is. All right. So now we have our standard. So that's the end in mind. Okay. Now, teachers, make sure that you double check this stuff. Okay. All right. So now number 2, please rewrite these standards into I can statements in the context of the steps required for the mural design. Ensure your responses are included with the corresponding art and Common Core state standards. So I'll hit paste. Oh, see, it copy, pasted the wrong information. This happens all the time. Okay. Hit submit, and it's going to cook up some information for you. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
in the interest of time, I'm going to stop it here. Okay. But you can, I'm only going to copy and paste the first learning goal.
I can
Okay.
create a well-structured argument that tells the unique story of my cultural heritage, which will be part of our class mural. Love it. These make them so
Okay.
easy and
And so,
digestible for students.
yep. And then you come right here. Boom. You see that? And now the alignment is starting to happen. Okay. So now your formative assessments. What variety of formative assessments? Because don't forget, we have different learners in our class. What variety of formative assessments, formal and informal, can I use to check my students' understanding of these learning targets? Ensure your responses are included with the corresponding I can statements. I copy, I paste, submit, let Copilot cook.
And George, as that's loading in, we have some comments in the chat about the prompts and finding these resources. Folks, we will be sharing where you can find all of these resources and we'll have them linked too. So please do not worry, we will be sharing them. So I saw that note too, and just wanted to comment so the audience knows.
Yeah. And so here, like I stopped it because it's a lot of information, but I copy, I come here, my formative assessments, I get rid of the bullets, and you'll see that it'll even give you a resource. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And you can get rid of the one, and you can edit this later. Like, I'm not going to edit
sure.
this in
Clean
real
it up
time,
if you want. Yeah,
but you see the alignment happening. And then the final
yeah,
step is which lessons, high yielding strategies, and scaffolds can I use to teach differentiated lessons? Like you got to tell it everything.
yeah,
Aligned with these targets, ensure your responses are included with the corresponding I can statements and assessments. And this document, y'all, is actually in the parking lot. So you can just change the nouns and verbs if you want and use the prompts. And it's going to give you some information. It'll give you some lessons. And you just got to make sure that the information is correct and it's something you want
yeah.
to do. All right. So,
George, it's so fantastic too. I know we talked about this, but seeing how you think through this process with intention. I mentioned planning in a doc and literally the act of copying and pasting it into Copilot to get
mhm.
and then bring it into the template. But seeing you do this and showing your process is so helpful because I know as folks are experiencing and trying AI in new ways and new capacities, we're learning with and from each other. And how do you do something? So I love seeing this and appreciate you taking the time to go through and literally show us how to do this.
Yeah, I've been using this tool for over 10 years. I learned it from Dr. Gina Olabornaga. I've made a lot of edits and a lot of revisions since then, but it really just helped me in how to plan something backwards. And if you
Yeah,
think about it, if you look at the template, this is not really a lesson plan. It's more of an overview of
yeah,
what the project, of what the lesson, of what the unit is about, but the actual plan, the actual mapping of a daily lesson, it's here
yeah,
in this tool. And I have found that in my own business, a lot of my clients, when they learn about the tool and they see the tool being modeled in real time, then they adapt this part of the tool into their own template. And I have found
yeah,
that very useful for people. All right. So a teacher's job is never done, unfortunately. So I have two more prompts. What tools and resources will we need to plan and design the mural? I also need a budget for my boss.
yeah.
Please
Wow.
keep please keep it as low as possible and put your responses in a table. So I'm going to paste that prompt in. Let's see what happens.
I'm loving the comments that are into like this makes the work easier. The result is more creative and professional. The idea of prompt engineering is key with AI, Janet mentions. So look at this.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And for folks that aren't familiar with that terminology, prompt engineering, I made sure that it's at the top of the document so people
Mhm.
understand that. But yeah, look at the table. And
Yeah.
when you have pro, when you have pro, you can you can import that information into Microsoft Office products.
Yeah.
M365, which, you can edit this, make it look beautiful later. And the final thing that I do want to show y'all is this: make a picture of a mural that models an inclusive and empathetic classroom. I'll copy and paste.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's
I
see
was
what this
actually
is.
shocked. Yeah,
Yeah, the
so
generative
these are
AI
probably
coming back. Yeah.
boom, look
Let's
at
see what
that.
it's going to get.
It's gonna give you
All
4
right.
options. Yeah.
While that's cooking up too, I love this thought. Learn beyond borders. Before you use it, give it a good prompt in order to get good feedback. So that's part of the beautiful opportunity of learning how to prompt the AI. So, oh my gosh, look at
Yes.
those.
Yeah, and you can actually edit this. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. Edit this in Designer. Okay. And so you can see it bigger. You can make the edits that you want. Okay. And also, I kept one that I really like. I like this one
Yeah,
right here. And so
I
I
do.
I thought it was powerful. All
I
right.
love
All right.
that.
So I'm going back into PowerPoint, y'all. I'm going back into PowerPoint. And so let's reflect for a moment. Which part of the mapping process did you find most valuable, and how will it influence your teaching practice? So let's hear from a couple of people, and then we'll take this home.
George, as folks are adding into the comments to me, again, thank you for taking the time to literally go through the button clicks and showing us the process. It's so helpful. But again, you were using, aspects of the pro version, bringing it into PowerPoint and Word, Excel, etc. This is fully capable too within the free version of Copilot. And we'd love to have you try it at copilot.microsoft.com. But to me, going back with intention, and I come back to set our students up for success, help them know what is expected, how to get from point A to point B. But as educators too, knowing that time is a precious resource, the thought partnership in aligning and planning, I'm loving this. I'm loving it. So let's keep going. Here we go. This is an awesome reflection. Allow you to personalize your resources, save time to do more projects. Yes, I love this.
Yep. And that's it. So it doesn't take away your brain power, but it definitely will save you some time. I
Yep,
love your use of Google Docs integration with Microsoft updates. It gives a wonderful result and creative harmony. Well, I appreciate that. I
I love
appreciate
that.
that. I
I love that.
appreciate that.
George, it's been so insightful and so helpful to see your process and planning. I want to get to some of these final gems, but watching you work through the backward design, align how you craft these prompts in Copilot. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, your expertise with us all today. And I have to ask, what final advice do you have for the folks who are watching?
So anyone that follows my work, I love Edutopia. Big shout out to Edutopia. There's a couple of articles that are in the parking lot, and the first one, it really breaks down that alignment tool, that backward design alignment tool. It's got the science behind it. It's got each of the steps explained. It's a powerful tool because in workshops, that's when teachers say,
Yeah,
hey, I don't understand scaffolding, or what's informal versus formal formative assessment. How do you unpack standards? And so this gives me an opportunity to
yeah.
do some lessons, but then also how to use that tool and how to prompt engineer other commands using AI. That's another article. And they're both in the
Listen,
park.
before you go off of these, I printed them out and read them. Folks, check out those. They're both brilliant articles. You can see, like, I read through them, but George, yeah, keep going. But I highly recommend folks catch those two articles. We have links, we'll be sharing them.
Yeah, and this is a table straight out of my book, Project Based Learning Plus. It's a table that it breaks down different type of student products that they can make in projects, that they can make in a unit, different models, different things. If you want some inspiration, this is also in the parking lot. And then here's the book. It's Project Based Learning Plus, which really explains core instruction through the lens of project based learning. It's got some project ideas like the mural design, but also just ways of helping teachers and
Mhm.
students. Teachers need solid core instruction. If we're
Yeah.
in the gym, the first thing they tell you to work on is the core, right? So your instruction has to be tight because once your core and your foundation is straight, now you can try innovative instructional strategies, high yielding strategies, things that you really need to do to help young people. But for young people, it's not always about just academic learning. John Hattie once said, see learning through the eyes of young people, of learners, which means knowing them as people, knowing them as people, and knowing them as learners. And so some young kids need that knowledge of self. Some need that social emotional learning. Some need some career skills. These are called essential life skills. So it's helping teachers balance that with academic learning. And here's some AI tools that I encourage you, if your district allows you to, incorporate these into your projects and let young people use these tools. These tools are actually all linked in the parking lot where you can sign up for them, try them out, and if you like them, you can get the paid subscription. Now, if you like this information, I want you to either use this code or go into the parking lot and find the link and sign up to Skillsforce. Skillsforce is a platform that I use for all my presentations, all of my new courses, which are coming up, but it allows you to be timed as you do the work, get some PD credit and a certificate if you're interested. So I encourage you to use this. And if your district needs something like this, make sure you reach out. And finally, if you want me to come to your school, I would love to explore this possibility. Just reach out to me and we'll have a conversation. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, George, this has been phenomenal and so many brilliant insights shared, your expertise. I saw this in the comment from Jornay. Thank you for all the gems shared today. It literally has been a phenomenal conversation. And folks, we are going to be adding all of these links to the YouTube description. So as you revisit the playback of this, you will have access to all of the resources that George has shared. But friend, I can't thank you enough for joining me
Wait, wait,
today.
wait. So I do got to give shout out. So Journey, thank you so much, sis. Journey is the person in Atlanta in ATL introduced me to Microsoft Copilot. I was telling them before that in my head, I didn't tell Journey this. I was like, oh, got another tool. But listen, y'all, you saw what it can do. It's powerful. Remember, think of the problem you want to solve and then get the tool. Belly, my sister, hermana, thank you for helping me prep for this. JB and Andy, all the folks at Microsoft. No person succeeds on their own. It doesn't work like that. And lastly, but not least, and thank you so much. We've met so many times, we've rehearsed, we made sure that the final product is excellent for y'all, the audience. So I hope you like this.
Listen, it is all better together. And I know the comments are coming in. You're going to start seeing them. Thank you. Thank you for your great work. Thank you for the folks tuning in. Folks, happy to be here. Special shout out from our friend Mohammed. Thank you, George. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week to everybody. And George, it's been an absolute honor having you here today. Thank you for sharing your insights, your expertise. We appreciate you so much.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
All right, folks, as we get ready to wrap up this event, I just want to share a few resources that Microsoft has available for you and your community. We have a series of educator trainings to help you learn how to use AI in education. You will see various offerings like equip and support learners with AI tools from Microsoft, how to enhance teaching and learning, AI in education, explore generative AI with Copilot. We definitely would love to have you visit these at aka.ms/AI in education. And folks, we are proud to share a brand new resource for you and your learning community. And as you're learning all about artificial intelligence, remember that Copilot uses the latest AI models like GPT-4 and DALL-E 3, and answers are based on today's information with sources from where the content is coming from. You can find resources by role for IT professionals educators, and even parents and guardians. This is a brand new resource, and you can find this at aka.ms/copilot/starterkit/edu. And we've shared that in the chat for you all, and we'll have it linked, of course. And friends, we have another incredible AI in EDU event coming up. So save the date for June 12. We will welcome Matt Miller for a special Q&A all about a vision for an artificial intelligence future. You can register for this event at aka.ms/flip-events. You'll get the link to join sent right to your inbox. And you also can view all of our previous events on demand at your convenience. We would love to have you join us. Definitely looking forward to seeing you on June 12th. And before we go, as always, you can find our resources at flip.com/Microsoft Copilot. We have a topic for this specific event with all of George's resources shared too. So feel free to keep the fun and learning going in this Flip group. And that's it, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for this brilliant conversation. Yeah, that's the group you can see right there. All of the attachments include the resources that George has shared, a link to the playback, but you can access his lifelong learning defined website, listen to the podcast, get the resources in that parking lot document, and more. We just want to say thank you to our esteemed guest, Jorge Valenzuela, for sharing your expertise and insights with us. And for all of you tuning in around the world, thank you so much for taking time to learn with us today. And on behalf of our learning team at Microsoft, we want to say thank you for being part of this AI in EDU series. We can't wait to see you at the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.